Good background,
Hello,
man.
Gabriel.
Background actor.
Thank you, man.
Amazing.
Hi, Gabriel. We love the background. Yes.
Since you liked my background, I'll ask about Jimmy, because he's a very cool character in the movie, and I was curious about how was it to interact with him during the shootings, because he was made practical, right?
Yes.
Jimmy was amazing. Jimmy was almost like a person with quite a lot of sensibility, right?
I liked him. I mean, it was, I would have loved to have had Anthony Hopkins in a robot suit next to me the whole time. That would have been amazing and hilarious, but
that wouldn't be quite...
it wouldn't be quite the same.
I don't know if you could get the ballet dancer physicality
I don't think if you get the...
Justin was able to achieve.
Certainly it wouldn't be sane in that environment in which we're filming. I mean, the dust level, the heat.
It wouldn't be fair on Sir Anthony. It wouldn't be right on Sir Anthony. Also, I don't know how, I know he's one of the greatest method actors of all time, but I don't know how we'd better stretch him into 6'7", 6'8" form. I don't even think Anthony Hopkins could pull that off.
I have no choice but to fight.
And you filmed part 1 and 2 back to back, and had to talk about the first half for a long time without giving anything about the sequel. Well, now that it's on, and you can talk about it, what was your favorite part of Rebel Moon Part 2?
Todo foi incrível.
I think just the action. I'm somebody who really enjoys like physicality and that side of things. I love the preparation in the stunts and working with the stunt team. Like always the stunt guys will be my guys. I love hanging out with them. I would suggest the stunts for part 2. And in the extended version, you're gonna see my head count is crazy.
It's a sort of different question for me because I shot everything over 6 weeks, and it was a series of scenes and largely sort of flashbacks. But I knew that this flashback that is featured in part 2 was a biggie, and it reveals to the audience a huge moment in Cora's backstory as to why she is this wanted person in this universe.
The most wanted fugitive in the known universe.
There you go. That's the line.
I mean, for me, I'm excited to talk about getting more intimate and closer to the characters and their past and what had happened to them and what led them to be where they are in the moment, and to understand what they're fighting for, what they're defending.
I agree. Where part 1 is of course in large parts about introducing the story and introducing the characters. In part 2, we get to know them a little bit better.
I thought dying in battle was all I wanted. Fighting for something. I think I was wrong. I don't think I want to die at all.
And this is a war movie, so there's a lot of casualties. So without spoilers, what was your reaction when you discovered the fate of some of the characters?
Sadness, honestly. There's one of the final scenes where I don't think this gives anything away, we have a funeral ceremony for those that have passed, and there was a genuine sadness to that,
But sadness, but I have to say that overall it was gratifying. I mean, kind of like enriching.
Yeah, enriching is definitely the word. I would say yes, for sure.
Almost like a celebration of what we'd done, It was
It's a great way
definitely
to
glass half full sort of situation.
Great way to put it.
Yeah.
They're unusual. They're not the kind of fate that necessarily happen in most films. I feel like you get a bit really surprised by what happened, and some of them are a bit sad, some of them are exciting.
I hope they can surprise the audience as much as it surprised us first time reading it.
Ed, you worked a lot with Alfonso Herrera. That's really loved here in Brazil. Can you tell us what was it like to collaborate with him in Rebel Moon?
He is such a lovely man. And when I read the script, I was like, oh man, it's important who Cassius is. Like, this casting is important. And I remember Zack telling me, okay, yeah, Alfonso Herrera. I was like, oh my, wicked. And then when I met him, as soon as we met, like, we're both fathers, we're both a similar age, we're both still young, but like, we're both touching 40. He is a sweetheart, an incredible actor. He was so supportive of me on this. We would train on the weekends together. He got Mexico shirts for my children.
No
Came back
way.
from Mexico with the shirts. My kids still wear the Mexico shirts. Yeah, I love that guy, man.
By the way, he's loved here in Brazil because of a soap opera called Rebel, and he was one of them. So you had a rebel by your side all the time, man.
Really? I never knew that. I never knew. But when any South Americans, specifically Mexicans, but really any South Americans would come and see him on set,
And Sofia, you have a lot of action in this movie as well, but there's a scene in a corridor that reminded me of Old Boy. Was that an influence?
Wow,
That's a compliment.
That's a compliment.
Yeah.
I love that scene. I know exactly what you were talking about. I learned that fight. I had to learn that fight quite quickly also. But anyway, like it was a lot of fun. I had to rehearse one thing over and over and over and over to make it perfect for camera because it was a one shot, right? It was challenging in a good way, but I'm really pleased with what it looks like.
And the Veld in, you said for part 1, that was constructed in real life in a great set. And in part 2, we see that become a battlefield.
I remember the moment when all hell breaks loose and there's a big explosion and we fall into this river that we had built for the village. And you know, moments like that, it's very satisfying. You don't, I don't feel like I'm acting anymore. It's just like fly through the air, big explosion, get in the water, get out of the water, get on a horse. And it's like, there's no time to think about like, okay, what am I doing? Like, just do it.
I remember one time we had to come back down to do a scene at the end, and it was weird because like, and the village was exploded, and it actually was quite hard. I was like, oh, where did the village go? And actually,
we hadn't been there for 2 weeks. It was all gone.
Yeah, turns out, we hadn't been there for 2 weeks. We came back and it was completely gone, and it was quite emotional. And then Zack told us that he actually practically exploded the set and then he has it all on camera, and it was kind of sad in a way, but that's what the movie does, that's what the story is. And I think for the people that had to be there and react to what was happening in the village, like what you see on their faces is really was practical for them because Zack really did it.
Well, I'd like to ask to both of you, because you were Marvel villains and now you are Zack Snyder villains. So I'd like to know from you, what are the biggest difference between these universes?
The question surely is, why are we always cast as villains? That's odd, right?
Northern Ireland and England, you know, historically, England certainly is the villains of history.
Well, yeah,
you know,
that's undoubtedly.
that is
the truth.
undoubted. No, it is. It is.
I mean, they were very different. Hawkeye, which is a sort of street level New York crime world. This was very different. You know, it's a space odyssey. You know, it's a huge universe, and a very different aesthetic. I sounded different. I was using my own accent in Rebel Moon, which was really, really thrilling because I don't usually get to speak with my own accent on screen. But yeah, really, really different. But it's fun to play the bad guy, I guess.
This is a vast universe. The journey is over for now, but we can return. So what kind of story would you like to tell with your characters in the future?
That's one of the things that's so exciting about Rebel Moon, that there could be so much offspring.
Yeah.
I would be very interested in experiencing more of what Nemesis had gone through before joining our band of rebels.
I personally would like to explore Gunnar and Cora starting their own farm and raising chicken and pigs and cows.
Yeah.
That would be fun, and having their own business. What would the business be? Do you think we'd be farmers?
Some organic produce.
Or do you think we would like...
Organic space produce.
Okay. Or maybe we'll start making spaceships on the side. Organic spaceships made out of wheat.